welcome to Tune of the Month and happy September. Let's do a reel from Cape Breton today. This is one of my longtime favorite Cape Breton tunes. It's called Father Francis Cameron by John Campbell. It's actually on my album Flight. We used it as the last tune, the big closer of the set Off to the Cape, all traditional Cape Breton tunes, and I love it. Thanks for stopping by, and if you're here to learn it, you know how this works. You've got your instrument, you're ready to go. Let's do it. So if you haven't already figured it out, this tune is in A major. A major. So feel what that means for you on your respective instrument. And you might have also already heard that this follows that wonderful, friendly, standard form that so many past Tune of the Month tunes have followed. With it, there's of course the A section and the B section, but within each section it does part one, part two, part one's going to come back, and then there's an ending. So lots of repetition built into the tune makes it nice and friendly to remember and play. All right, I'm going to slow this A section down so you can start putting it together, and I'll minimize my ornaments for the moment. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Repeat part 1. Part 2. Back to part 1. Ending. Yeah, so once you start hearing where those little parts are, it probably sounds a lot more repetitive. You may have already picked some of this up, and in fact, you could just learn that whole A section by rewinding this video and playing it slowly with me a whole bunch of times, however many you need, or a few, however many you need. But if it helps you to break it down, let's do that now. Here we go. So part 1, I have one pickup going, and it's really a fifth to the root, right? There's my root of A, here's my lower fifth. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, root. Yeah, so that's part 1. Listen again. 2, 3. So you already hear lots of arpeggios. Are you identifying what they are? Here I am. Notice I'm slurring my pickup in down bow, all of you bowed string players. Rather than playing, I'm slurring it in. We call that a leaning pickup. You may have seen them in past Tunes of the Month. It just gives it a little extra oomph. But you can play the pickup any direction you like, so long as your downbeat starts down bow. That's very important for making this whole thing feel comfortable, and for making it really Cape Breton style, where it's very heavy downbeats, gritty, earthy feel. Here we go. Part 1. Hopefully you're getting close here. I haven't said a lot yet. I'm just asking you to hear it, but I'll nudge you in some Tune of the Month ways. If you've been following Tune of the Month, you know I like to think of my hand in teams. There's my odds team, 1 and 3. And there's my evens team, open 2 and 4, right? This works for all fiddler viola types. Other types, you have your own version of this, so you can kind of translate to your instrument. When I play an arpeggio that's in just 1 octave, it will stay within 1 team. So I feel here, evens team, now odds team. Notice that, because there are arpeggios, aren't there? Here's A major, a little D major, back to A, but it's the low A. Does that make it a little easier? Let's try it again. A chord, D chord, back to A chord. Yeah. And notice you bowed string player types, I'm using bowing conventions that we've talked about. There's that first note there, the first downbeat. That's a long quarter note. Anytime we have a quarter note, we're always going to slur the next 2 eighth notes to keep our bow going down bow on the downbeat, right? We've done that in lots of past Tune of the Months. Check it out. Here's my long down bow. Now I'm going to slur. And I'm back down on the downbeat. Really important. It's going to happen throughout this tune. I won't point all of them out. You'll have to watch and listen for them. When you hear yum, ba, da, da, that rhythm, that's down, slur, then you're separate. One more time, part 1. Down, slur, all right, we're ready to go. Here comes part 2. Now notice we've just landed a long quarter note, so I'm going to slur my next 2 notes, which are pickups. Yeah, so that's part 2. Some people call it the turnaround. I'm going to slur my first 2 pickups. Here they go. Catching those bowing patterns? Are you catching the arpeggio patterns? Check it out. A major. Here's my long note. Stay A major, so the next 2. Now E major to E7. Ooh. That's that spicy sound, that E dominant 7th chord. And then I finish just down the scale to connect back into part 1. Ooh, that's spicy, isn't it? But it's really quite simple. It's just A arpeggio to E7 arpeggio. That is it. Let's try it with the 2 pickups. They're slurred. A major. Long, slur. Here's E major. Nice, do it again, part 2. Long, slur. E7. Very good, and where we just landed, that's part 1 again. It comes back exactly like before. Do it, A major. Little D chord. Low A. Very good, you remembered that well. If you didn't, don't worry, just go ahead, rewind the video, check it again. Here comes the ending. I'm also going to slur 2 pickups. Yeah, check it out again. Ending. Okay, so this is where your pattern recognition by ear comes in really handy. We have our 2 pickups. And now here's an A major arpeggio. Right, the same A major arpeggio we've been dealing with. Right, there's the A major with the low fifth on the bottom. Now here's a little neighbor tone. Right, neighbor tone is when you have a note and then a step below and back to the note. That's a lower neighbor. You could also have an upper neighbor. This happens to be a lower neighbor tone. And that's actually got a little D chord, isn't it? And now to finish, these guys, which hopefully you recognize instantly as our friends broken thirds. They appear in so many fiddle tunes. And if you don't know what a broken third is, don't worry. All you need to do is play teams in your hand. Evens, team, now odds, team, evens, team, finish. Each of those little skips, that's a third. That's a third. They're called broken thirds because we play one note at a time. But I think of it in teams in my hand. Evens, team, odds, team, evens, team, odds, team, and just keep alternating until the tune's done. All right? Let's do that whole ending, put it together. I know I'm going quickly with these patterns, so if you're new to Tune of the Month, it may feel like, woo! But the reason I'm going quickly is they're actually patterns that we've done a lot on the series, so hopefully a lot of you are recognizing them, either from the time we've spent together or from the rest of your fiddling life out in the real world. So if they're going by quickly, you can either just, pick them up here as we go, or you can check out past Tunes of the Month and get lots of practice with them. All right, here we go. We're at the ending. We've got our two pickups. A chord. Little neighbor tone. And here are our broken thirds. Evens, odds, evens. Finish. Nice. Do it again. The whole ending. Two pickups. A chord. Neighbor. Ending. Broken thirds, that is. One more time. A chord. Neighbor. Broken thirds. You got it. That's the whole A section. Let's put it all together. Here's part one. A chord. Little D chord. Odds team A. Here's part two. A chord. E7. Back click at the beginning, A chord. Ending, A chord, neighbor tone, and broken thirds to finish here. So as we start to loop this A section, let's start getting some style markers in here. All right, so that Cape Breton sound, right, has kind of that heavy, earthy sound. It's so groovy. So that's coming from my playing mostly separate bows, at least when they're running eighth notes, right? If I have long slur, I need to slur that to stay down bow on the down beat, going with gravity. But when I have those running eighth notes, chugga, 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 I'm really leaning on my index finger so I get really in the string. And do you feel how I'm letting the down bows be just slightly longer than the up bows? And mostly that's gravity, not me, the human. I'm just letting gravity do its thing. It feels a little like dribbling a basketball. And it makes the sound chugga, 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 chugga. Chugga. That's the Cape Breton sound. It does, sometimes it sounds like I'm coming off the string or playing short bows. That's just the natural sound of the stick when I'm playing really earthy and heavy like that. But I'm actually playing in the string, super smooth. My bow hair never leaves the string and it never lightens up. It's a nice, like, heavy touch, like not heavy pressed, but heavy like a big cat sinking into a big plush sofa. right? Hopefully we all know that image. All right, so as we're playing through we're gonna do 2 A's now. Start getting that chugga, 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 long slur, chugga, chugga, long slur, chugga, chugga. See how much you can keep your sound like really, really connected with the string if you're a stringed instrument, your air, or whatever else you've got. If you're a different instrument, you will find this sound. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, part 1. Long slur, chugga, 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 chugga. Start to be a little earthier, a little groovier, chugga, 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 with just a little bit of extra length on the down bows. I'm not accenting, I'm not going wacko, wacko, wacko. That's not groovy. It's all about length and connecting with the string. All right, so let's add a little more style. You remember those quarter notes that we know signal a bowing situation when you have the long quarter? We know we slur the next 2. Well, a lot happens on those quarter notes in the Cape Breton style. That's where we add Cape Bretonness. Not only do we have that bowing convention, but the longer note means we have a little bit of extra time. So we can do things like ornament. The signature ornament sound of Cape Breton music, if you ask most folks, is that guy. It's called a wiggle or a warble, right? Right, so I'm doing that on my second finger, and what it is, that second finger is the melody note, and I'm just lifting it up for a tiny second and putting it back down. But I'm lifting so little. It's almost like if you have 2 strong magnets connected, and you know how you can pull them apart so you still feel the fields? It's not so far that they disconnect, it's just a little bit, and then you can let go and they snap back together. That's how I feel between my finger and the string when I do a wiggle, right? I'm gonna like barely, barely, barely inch up that second finger and then snap it back down on the string. Try that with me, 4 wiggles on that F sharp note. And you see how fast you can do it. We don't want to hear it. That's not Cape Breton, that's something else. So it's not that I want to hear the grace note, it's that I want to feel that little, that's why it's called a wiggle. It sounds like if you took a Jello and shook it, right? So you could do that on any quarter note. Ooh, kind of fun. Before I let you try it, I'll show you one more thing you could do with any quarter note, especially if you're bowing it properly, right? Long slur. Any quarter note could become a wiggle. It could also become a cut, right? A cut, as you know from past Tune of the Month or the rest of your fiddle experience, that is a super connected, super clean little 3-note entity. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And just like with the quarter note, after the cut, we always slur the next 2. So that's why it's so easy to just put cuts in where there are quarter notes, because you're already bowing it correctly. So, with that in mind, let's play the first 2 A sections of Father Francis Cameron. And when you get to the quarter notes, it's your choice. If you're still getting comfortable with the tune, just play the quarter notes. Long slur, or slur the next 2 8 notes. That's very important. It will enable everything to happen. All right, with your beautiful connected chugga chugga Cape Breton sound. If you're feeling pretty good about the melody, try making a wiggle out of those quarter notes. And if you're feeling good about that, try making a cut out of those quarter notes. Now for practice sake, what I'm going to do is we're going to play 2 A sections. The first A section, I'm going to play all wiggles. I'm attempting to play all wiggles. And on the repeat, I'm going to play all cuts. So if you'd like to join me in that, you can, or you can mix it up. When I actually play the tune, I would mix it up. But right now, I'm just kind of practicing with you. It's kind of fun to challenge yourself to keep it consistent while you're practicing. Here we go, 2 A's. 1, 2, 3. I'm switching to cuts. How'd it work? Pretty good? Now, of course, we kind of failed to mention that if the quarter note is on an open string, right, you can't wiggle on an open string, can you? Because there's no note below. So I would either just leave it plain, or you heard what I did on this guy. I leaned in and got the double stop. So anything to just make those quarter notes sound a little like oomfier, right? The wiggle works, the cut works, or you can add a double stop. Hey, why not? So let's now play 2 more A's. We're normally at Tune of the Month, we would wait till the end of the video to add in the style markers and the ornaments and things like that. We're just doing it right here on the A section so you can layer in very deeply to the style, even while you're still learning the tune. It's a really fun way to work on things. So let's play 2 more A sections, and now please mix up plain quarter note, wiggle, and cut. I'm going to mix it up. We may or may not match. It's okay if we don't. We're just sounding Cape Breton style, and of course everything laid upon chug, 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 chug. Really connect with the strings. Super smooth, super deep sound. 1, 2, 3. Back to part 1. Ending. Yeah, how's it feeling? Are you getting that Cape Breton style sound happening even though you're just barely learning the tune? It's awesome. I like doing this deep style application very early on in the tune because that way I don't have to like learn the tune in my own default way and then go back and relearn it in the style. That seems like a lot of extra practicing to me. So I like to add the style markers as early as I can when I learn tunes, so that way I sound as authentic as possible from the first moment. All right, so you can play with that A section lots and lots. I bet you're feeling a lot better about that melody now that we've played it so many times. And of course you can rewind and do it even more. I will be happy to play with you as many times as you like. All right, but let's go to the B section now. Okay, now here's the fun. This is why I left the B section alone while we did all that style work. I'm going to slow the B section down. At first, I will keep the ornaments out so you can really hear very clearly where the quarter notes are, right? Those important moments where you get the choice of wiggle or double stop or cut. But then we're not really going to talk about exactly where and how you should put those in. The second you feel like you're ready to start adding those style markers in, I want you to do it. Challenge mode. All right, I'm going to play the whole B section so you can hear it. It's part 1, part 2, part 1 ending. 1, 2, 3. The ending a little bit. That's okay, that can happen. So, are you already hearing the patterns of the melody? Let's break it down quickly. So I got 2 pickups, right, which will be played separate bows to part 1. So that's part 1. It's very, very patterned. Do you hear how it's an A arpeggio? Then the exact same pattern on a B minor arpeggio, which will happen to be your odds team. All right, so that's an important pattern to get. Let's look at it. It starts with a long slur. Notice that's a descending arpeggio. Long slur. Jump back up to the 5th, and then back down to the root and go up. All right, so descending arpeggio, little bump to the 5th, back down, and an ascending arpeggio. So it's almost like a little W shape, right, if you were to trace it on the staff. All right, let's try it. Descending, slur, hop back down, and ascending. Good, do it again. Good, try the same pattern with your B minor arpeggio. Good, do that again, B minor. Good, let's put them together with 2 pickups. Here we go, 2, 3, chugga, long, slur, chugga, chugga, long, slur, chugga, chug. That's it, that's part 1, where you're getting chugga, chugga, lengthening those down bows a little bit. Let's try it again. Long, slur, chugga, chug. Good, that's part 1. If you need more, just go ahead and rewind. I'm going on to part 2. Ooh, sounds familiar, doesn't it? At least the ending part. Yeah, so I have these little, they're ascending broken thirds, right? Except the first one isn't a third. All right, I'm just jumping up to my A. Now evens team and A major. Not too bad, is it? Do that little ascending guy. And A major arpeggio. Now here's the part that you feel familiar, back from the A section. That's that E dominant 7th chord again. Yeah, it's just a little flash of A section that comes back. Let's try that part 2 turnaround. Ready? And ooh, nice. One more, part 2. Notice I already was putting in a wiggle at the end there. Now we're back to part 1. I'm going to slur these pickups this time. B minor. Yes, I was already decorating it. Hopefully you were too. And here's the ending. Starts suspiciously like part 2. In fact, it's all the way like part 2. Except for here, instead of going up to this, we just finish on the root. Well, isn't that fun? That does happen in tunes from time to time, that the part 2 and the ending are almost identical. So I talk about it as like you get the ending for free. Not for free, it's if you already learned part 2. But it's a nice break, right? Let's try that at the ending. It starts with a little ascending broken thirds-ish. A major, E major, and finish. It's the whole B section, ladies and gentlemen. Any of those parts that you want to see a little bit more melodically, just rewind the video. But for now, I'm going to put together the whole B section. I'll do 2 of them. The first time I'll play no ornaments, just so you can really hear what those quarter notes are. Hopefully you are already ornamenting with your wiggles or your cuts or a double stop. The second time through, I'm going to put in some wiggles and cuts and double stops. Doesn't matter exactly which ones I put where because we mix them all around, don't we? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Part 1. A major. B minor. Here's part 2. E dominant 7. Back to part 1. Here's the ending. Repeat. in there for you again. So that's the way to practice it. Just keep going round and round and round the tune. Keep working on chugga, chugga, super, smoothie, lengthen, down bows. And every time you have a quarter note, do something Cape Breton-y. Right? Now, of course, there are lots of other ornaments in the Cape Breton style, but those are like the signature ones that happen on the quarter notes in fast tunes like reels. So if you want to make this sound authentically Cape Breton, that's the fastest, most direct way to go about it. Alternate your cuts and your wiggles and your double stops. All right, so I hope this is fun. I love this tune. I hope you do too. And as always, the idea isn't that you learn Father Francis Cameron. The idea is that Father Francis Cameron is your excuse to learn skills like that Cape Breton sound, being super smooth, your cuts, your wiggles, all those sort of things. And then you can go out and apply them to all the rest of your tunes. Yay! Including other tunes of the month, perhaps. But yeah, that's the whole idea. Take the skills, go run with it, play with it. There are many tunes waiting for you. If, as always, you would like to see sheet music for this and all future tunes of the month, make sure you're subscribed to my email newsletter. If you're not already, you can go to my website, www.mariblack.com, also in the description below, and click sign up. And once a month, you'll get a little email from me saying hello. And it always includes my handwritten version of the sheet music of the current tune of the month, for any of you who find that helpful to see. But hopefully the whole point of this series is that you get comfortable learning by ear. So hopefully you don't even need it, and you'll just have it because you love my handwriting or something. Have fun, you guys. I'll look forward to seeing you next month. We'll be back for more tunes. Bye.